Do I get royalties from this or?
Sure, checks in the mail.
Got it. Okay, good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can count on you, Larry.
Don't worry about the lease. We'll get you out early, and you definitely need that earthquake insurance. Anything else, Mr. Hill?
Oh, that's good. I'm happy.
All right, and we're live.
Bird issues.
Are we good?
Bird issues.
Are we live, Sarah?
Yes, we are live.
Okay, welcome everybody. We've got our usual terrific cast of people. And it's interesting. I gave the theme to Sarah and Deronda on Friday. And it was basically between the UAW and you know, is this and rising interest prices, and is the sky falling, the rise and fall of EVs. And this was the day before Israel got attacked. And anybody that hasn't noticed my nose or my last name, I'm Jewish. And if you're pro or anti, if you're anti-Israel, you better get the hell off the call, because I'll track you down like a dog. But these are the most, you know, dealers love to pat themselves on the back and say how resilient they are. Which is as dumb as when football players say they were in a war when there's real soldiers in the stadium. But they will be okay. They are an incredibly resilient people. They're in a small sliver of land surrounded completely by enemies, and they're going to be just fine. They're smart enough not to count too much on the lack of leadership we have at the top of our country. And I think they will weather the storm of the criticism that's going to come in when they start taking out citizens who are being used as human shields. So do me a favor. Like I always tell people when they complain about how bad things are going, I tell them to go to the pediatric cancer ward. So before we moan or groan too much about our current state of life, just remember what's going on there. And that's all. I'll get off my soapbox. I am an optimist. It's probably cost me a lot of money, and it's probably made me a lot of money. But I honestly believe in the end, everything will be okay. But you know, only because Russell Hill's on, he's become one of my dearest friends. I'm going to quote John Lennon, who said, "It'll all be right in the end. And if it's not all right, then it's not the end."
Yeah, he also said one of his songs, "Life happens while you're busy making other plans."
It most certainly did. So all I want to do tonight is get everybody's honest opinion. I personally think this will pass. We survived the housing meltdown. We survived them going in and telling dealers that we're absolutely good people, that we're closing you because we're closing you. And I think we're just going to be fine. I'm going to start with my erstwhile co-host, Peter Smith, and just go down the row and get everybody's opinion. And we just can't thank you enough for coming in. Kelly, Jeff, Jennifer, everybody, our new guests, we really appreciate it. So Peter, words of wisdom, sir. Interest rates, EVs going crazy or not going crazy, the UAW strike. What do you think, my buddy?
Well, the very first thing is, yes, our hearts are in our hands to what's happening overseas. So that's it for that. Where we look at what the industry is doing, what it's being affected by, it's happened before. It's a cyclical industry. We've seen, I remember being in the industry when car interest rates were 23% for good credit. So when credit for good credit right now is at 7-8%, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about inventory. I've worked through inventory crises. I'm not worried about people crises, because we can find people. We just have to look in different directions. What I am worried about is the issue of closed-mindedship. And there's too many people out there going, I know what I'm doing. I'll weather it. Let me roll the way I want to roll. And we have amazing people on this show that have great opinions and great opportunities for dealers to move forward in the right direction under these circumstances. So with that, I'll let you roll.
Okay, well, this is perfect. Why don't we start, and I'm just going to go left to right. We actually have our version of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp with Fred Thorn and Wendy. We're talking about like synergistic, hot people, and smart, opinionated, and possibly two of the nicest people. in
Right
the
on.
organization. So, Wendy, Fred, I don't think the sky is falling. I think I always love to quote Jerry Butler, the great Philadelphia soul singer, only the strong survive. The people that have their wits about them will come through this. Fred and Wendy, Wendy and Fred, any thoughts, any opinions? And thank you so much, both of you, for being on.
Well, don't both of you speak at once, though.
No, he's waiting for me to go first, so
I think
And
I
I-
overwhelmed them with the introduction.
I can
Alright.
speak, I can speak more to the automotive industry issues and he can speak more to what's going on the other side of the world. I am not completely ashamed to say I don't keep up on my news like I should. I know there's a lot of tragic things happening. He knows minute details because he lives it morning, noon, and night. I have my head so far stuck down rabbit holes in automotive, and I don't take the time to do everything else. So I will say for automotive, I think Peter hit the nail on the head. I think those of us that have been around know that we will recover because that's what we do in automotive. We pivot and we recover. And we change direction and we weather the climate, whatever it is. And my favorite thing to say is that we may not be in the same boat, but we're in the same storm. And that's ever since COVID, regardless of what it is. We're people helping people. And if we band together and if we work together and if we collaborate, we will survive and we will thrive. That said, there aren't a lot of people like that are in agreement that they're ready to collaborate or they're ready to listen to common sense, which is very rare in our industry. Sorry, but it is. There's too much ego in our industry and they can't see through their egos to see common sense and to use their common sense and read the writing on the wall. So I think that we are making we're making some headway. We've got, we're things like what Jen and I were doing in our room this morning. Ask Jen. I hope I didn't chase her away. Oh, she just went dark. Okay. So fabulous things. Once we get the conversations going and we keep them going, I think we can do anything. And I'll cut it short there.
Hey, Wendy, by the way, I'm awful sorry I missed your show today. I was training and beating up 11 people in Tennessee trying to get them jobs. And by the way, as far as Fred keeping up on what's going on over there, don't worry, over there will be here with an open border and with unrest in the Middle East and God knows who's in our country now. We may be hearing horrible headlines here too. I'm not happy about that either, but right, you reap what you sow. Look at this, I got another biblical in there. Fred, do you have any comments or should we jump to Mr. Hill?
You can go, Mr. Hill.
Look, he gave up his time. It's like watching the Congress try to pick a new Speaker of the House. Russell, you are now empowered with the thoughts of Fred Thorn.
Well, okay. So first, I'd like to say, over the last year, getting to know Wendy and Fred has just been amazing. Two amazing people. Wendy, Fred, appreciate all that you do inside our industry and outside of our industry. I wish there was more examples of that. I think it was Peter was talking about the island standing alone. So I have this acronym, see, because I really believe that everything that happens is a product. I'm going to share a story. My son asked me years ago, he said, Dad, how do you know you're making the right decisions? And I said, well, Ryan, what do you mean by that? He says, Dad, you always seem to make the right decisions. And I said, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Not the case, but what is your formula? He's in the car business as well. And I said, it's pretty simple. He knows I'm pretty simple with some of that stuff. And I said, well, every decision we make revolves around other people, period, whether you like to think so or not. Now, if other people benefit and you benefit, then it's a good decision. But if you benefit at the expense of other people around you, it's not a good decision. You're going to end up losing in the long run. You're not going to be happy. There are people out there like that. And Peter, you mentioned people aren't listening. They're hard-headed. Status, maybe they have status. So let me give you my acronym for status. Still too arrogant to understand success. They think they can do it on their own. They don't have to listen. They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. Listen, I remember I was on the road coming back from Shreveport. Just had a great week out on the road. My wife called and she says, did you hear? I said, what, babe? she said, this pandemic thing. I said, well, she said, get your ass home right now. I said, I got another couple stops. And she said, no. Get your ass home right now. Okay. Look, this wasn't something happened in a state or a city. This is worldwide automotive shutdown. And here we are. We made it. So we're going to weather all of this stuff. It's just, I don't get bogged down in it because I think personally I move in the direction of my dominant thoughts, and it's important for me how I wake up and the things that I do in the morning to get my head straight for the day. And I know at any moment I can I can make a different decision or choice. And the point is, what moment do I choose? So I don't say because this happened or that happened, my whole day is going to be shot. I just spoke that into existence. That kind of stuff's at work. The UAW stuff, not really sure what's going on with that, but I do. We have a Region 2 in Michigan, a UAW guy that's coming on our podcast tomorrow. We want to try to find out as much as we can about it. It looks like it's getting worse before it gets better. And, it's historical. But you know what? We're going to get through it because I surround myself with people like you all. That's who I surround myself with. Okay. I show up to meetings because of what I get from them. Like this morning, showing up to Wendy's deal, man, Wendy, that was amazing. That thing is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And Fred, I miss seeing you in person. Haven't seen pictures of the grandkids and kids for a while. It's time to catch up and share some of that new stuff with us and some of your carpentry extraordinary stuff that you've done since we last spoke. And Larry and I recently had a couple of conversations. I want to be as involved as I possibly can be because what I'm attempting to do, or any of us are attempting to do, rely on other people like us that understand that, we're surrounded by our friends, our neighbors, our relatives, church, social clubs, etc. And every move we make revolves around the people around us. And we just need to make sure that if they're ready, if the student's ready, the teacher will appear, and vice versa. So I'm pumped up. I'm excited about Digital Dealer coming up next week. I got, I'll tell you what, I've done several presentations, and they're all the 50-minute ones. You go for about 40 minutes. Okay, leave a little room for questions and answers. But they asked me if I wanted to do this deep dive thing. I say that's a lot of material for deep dive. That's an hour and a half. That's a lot of material. And particularly in a moving target like electric vehicles and artificial intelligence, which we spoke about a little bit about this morning. Automated intelligence, remember, Wendy, and artificial intelligence. So I'm probably going to hear more of that around. And, it all started in Wendy's room. So anyway, it was great. Really enjoyed it. That's really all I got. I'm blessed with 3 wonderful kids and 4 grandkids, and they all live within 9.5 minutes of me and my wife. I'm blessed beyond measure, and I know the only way to keep what I have, there's only one way. There's one secret to living a good life, and you got to help other people around you. Period. The end. Period.
Good way to end it there, Russell.
Russell,
I've got my
let
buddy.
me just jump in for 1 second, Larry. Just 1 second. Russell, I want to commend you on that. You explained one thing that I've said throughout my 41-year career. We're in a people business. We are all about people. We need to show the people that we care and we empathize with every single situation. And when we can do that, and we can help people, and we can take and rely on others to lift us up when we fall, we will succeed. That's it. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, Jay, let everybody know who you are. It turns out this gentleman is the son-in-law of Tony Tolino, who's been in the car business longer than me or Russell. And what a gentleman he is. And
are you serious? Longer than you and I, Larry?
Brother, he was a manager at Faulkner in Pennsylvania when I think I was in diapers, and just the nicest, straightest guy possible. He's been a little morose lately because he didn't condone of his daughter's marriage. Oh, wait, I was off script. I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead, please.
I love it. Guys, very nice to meet everybody. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm not going to really go into the whole world politics guy. I'm not really a political guy, but what I could say is whatever's going out there, my heart and prayers are out for everybody. It's I am half Jewish myself. My dad was Jewish. God rest his soul. He passed away about 12 years ago. So I am keeping up with the news, but you know, I try not to get into the political conversation. So I'll quickly go into the automotive space. Basically, I like to treat everyone as I would like to be treated. You play the cards that you're dealt. You play the hand that you're dealt, right? So you try to make the most in every situation. You try to care and support everyone the best you can. As far as the automotive space, you know, I try not to look at the negatives necessarily and really focus on that. I try to look forward and see how you can change the current. You know, if it's not the way you want it to be, I try to find the positives of where you can move the needle on that. It may be 5 little needles to move to get to where you want to be, and nobody knows where the end of the road is to get to that positive space. But what I can say is, I told myself a long time ago that, you know, worrying about things and looking at negatives doesn't get anywhere. And you know, I'm a very positive person, so I try to only focus on the positives. Not that I'm not aware of the negatives, but I don't focus on them. And you know, I try to, you know, bring that out in everybody. I'm here to network with everybody, support anybody and every one of you the best way I know how. Certainly not looking for anything in return. Just try to support everybody. Try to make the best of every situation. And it's just an absolute pleasure to be here. And I want to thank Larry for sending the invite, and you know, Mike, I already know you for about 5 years or so. Great guy, Mike Larkin, if you don't know him already, guys. And I believe I'm connected with probably about half of you so far. So if you're not already connected with me, please send me an invite. It's Jay Woolrich, WOLRICH. And Larry, I'm going to give the time back.
Sure. Jay just very generously indicated that he'd like to help all of you without doing any benefit himself. He said he's half Jewish. I'm all Jewish. I'll help every one of you. I expect a check, a pizza, something, okay? Don't be cheapskates, all right? And Larkin's still wearing the 10X hat. Send me your damn address and I'll send you a career changers hat, okay? Yeah. Grant Cardone's busy stepping on his mother's face to get to the top in the jet. Be real here. Okay. Jay, it was a pleasure having you here. We're just going to go left to right and get to Jeff and Mike and my girl Kelly and Jen. We're so glad she's here too. Jeff, what do you think, my buddy?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I don't know all of you personally, but I do know Peter, Larry, and Mike. And I know Larry and Mike, and I have shared some leads, and hopefully we'll share some business moving forward. And one thing I do know, and I think it probably goes for everybody on the panel here, we're grinders. You know, we're not going to be set back by whatever happens because we're leaning forward. And, you know, if we're not moving, we're not in our good senses, you know, where we feel out of place if we're not moving forward. So, you know, yeah, there's bad things happening. You know, the world is bad. The Bible says it. You're going to have pains, you know, but we're going to forge ahead. And, you know, a year from now, we're going to be talking about something completely different than this, you know, but we're not, I don't think it's going to put any of us out of business, I hope. And anyway, so that's kind of my 5 cents. Instead of
so just to recap this portion of the program, Russell Hill has a crush on Fred and Wendy.
I do.
Jay wants to help everybody with no compensation. And Russell, I believe that Jeff Scherer just said, we will get through this and then we will get hit in the head with something else. That was very non-inspiring. And, you know, I'm easily depressed when you're a low energy guy like me. Before we jump to Mike Larkin, I got to hear from Kelly. She was kicking butt today on Clubhouse. And then I promise we'll jump back to Mr. Larkin. Kelly, you're about to get a job. Somebody's going to grab you. You're going to do fabulous. So I know you're completely optimistic. And you're like me. You look always on I hate people that say new day, same old crap, because my thing is then why get out of bed? So tell us some optimistic things you think are around the corner. Then we'll jump to Mike and my girl, Jen, please.
Optimistic things around the corner. Okay, so some of you guys may have known that earlier this year, I got carjacked at gunpoint with 3 cars full of guys with guns. So every
Oh,
morning I
man.
wake up, I say, hey, I woke up, let's do this thing. Because
No, wait a
every
minute, wait a
day
minute, wait a
is
minute, Cal.
new.
Did you get the names of the guys with guns? Because I'm looking for some used car managers for a dealership.
Well,
Sounds like the right candidates.
They're really good at stealing Chargers. But they're 3 of them got caught, so you may have to get them out of jail.
What state are you in? And what state were
They're
they?
in Illinois. It happened in Illinois, not Missouri.
Girl, they ain't going to jail. There's no bail in Illinois. Okay, they'll probably be out as we speak, robbing somebody else right now. I know I'm not supposed to be political, but
Well,
I'm
you
not
say
real good
that,
at
but
following rules.
the one guy stole a car from somebody in February and turned around and got mine 2 months later. So 3rd time's a charm. Oh,
I
and
hope
Louis
so.
says hi. But
Is that your
for
bird?
positive- Louis Apollo.
Let's see him.
He's my noisy little companion.
That's how Peter refers to me. It's very sad.
He just does. whatever
Noisy or little?
He's very little.
So is
So
Larry.
he goes by LP, so little parrot. But positive things, a lot of us are going to get to meet in real life next week if we haven't already. So that's a short-term thing to look forward to. And if you're a Halloween season person or a fall season person, that's upon us. And oh, by the way, we're still in what they call September surge here in October for hiring and things like that. So I know I'm looking forward to finding the right partner, and I've got a couple of friends, one of which I think I'm going to have to track down my little angel over there and introduce them on Monday night or Tuesday.
So here's a young lady that is currently unemployed, which is ridiculous because she's brilliant, and was carjacked. I didn't hear one negative reference, and I heard her minimize. Okay. I love it. I'm so glad you're on this show, and everybody everywhere will help you get where you need to be, because somebody with that kind of disposition, we need you in the industry and we want to see you happy. How about if we jump in with Mr. Larkin and then my good and great friend, Jennifer Sanford?
Hey guys, I want to defer my time to Jennifer. She was on the AI with the beautiful and beautiful person Wendy on her Clubhouse, and she is brilliant. So I'm gonna defer to her, and yeah, I'm looking for my hat in the mail.
I need an address, which I did request to you. So send
Yes,
me your address.
I texted to you.
You think I look at your text? What are you, crazy? I'll get you a hat, my buddy.
It was a halfway house, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, I was.
And Wendy
Larry.
and Wendy
I think
wanted
it was
to
a
know.
Gilligan's hat.
Wendy wanted to know if that was Brian Benstock looking over your shoulder. It's Steve Carell. If it was Benstock, Wendy, he would have come right through the glass.
Yeah, we don't want to be Ben stocked.
All right, Jen, illuminate. Tell us what the heck's going on and the bright stars you see ahead in a dark, cloudy night.
Well, like you said, I think we've got a lot of storm clouds around, but there are leaders that will see us through that, and we do have to push them. And we do have to push them to make good decisions. And you guys, we all have to help vote the right people in, and they're all right depending on wherever you live. I don't care about political parties so much, but I see a lot of optimism. Look at last Friday's job report and economic report. Every time you open up the newspaper, they just, it's doom, it's gloom. Oh, it could turn bad. Oh, it could do this. Yeah, it could do a lot of things. But the fact is, we are 3.8 unemployment, which means we're at virtually zero. At 3.5, everybody who wants a job has one. So that's where we are. And that is a healthy economy. That could drive some inflation. Oh, well. That might happen. But the fact is, we are in a great place. So with all these storm clouds around us, we are stronger than we've been in a long time. And you just have to stop listening to the media. It's that theory of if it bleeds, it leads. So that's what they are there to do. So I try to read the op-ed columns. I read the op-ed columns of the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, so I get both sides. And I tell you, we've got some amazing talent. There's a strangeness around our octogenarian candidates, but can't quite explain that. But there's some amazing, talented leadership in our industry and in our country. So I think there's better days ahead of where we are today. So I say the signs look good.
Hey, Jen, send me your address, unlike the reluctant Mike Larkin, and I'll send you a copy of my book, Inner Moron Demons, How to Avoid Them and How to Live Your Best Life. It'll be a lot more fun than reading political mishmash.
Okay. But
Besides, I have one chapter where I correlate, you never go wrong with Ed Roberts.
I know this is my next one. So I've got.
Well, imagine Ed Roberts if he took LSD, and you can imagine what my book sounds like. It's like I tend to take a slightly skewed path to reality and sanity. Listen, I'm a historian. I love history and music and absorb everything I can. And building on what Jen said, we always have bad times. You think World War I wasn't scary? How about World War II? I mean, how close were we? If Hitler, besides being an anti-Semite piece of vermin, wasn't a pinhead and listened to some of his generals and had steered some things in different direction, who knows what the hell would have happened? We always have situations we have to deal with.
True.
And as long as we keep our eyes fixed ahead, we can roll through. And I'm not talking about mindless optimism. I'm just talking about the fact that, this planet keeps enduring lots and lots of things. We're America. We survived the damn Civil War. We survived Richard Nixon and Watergate. Well, listen, it's, Jen, think about it. There's only a couple places on the whole planet that make a peaceful transfer of power. What they said that the king, the recently deposed King of America, King George, called Washington the greatest man in the world because he was the first guy since Cincinnatus that gave up power. Usually, here's how power transferred: you killed the guy, he died.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few places where we transfer power intelligently. My only political comment tonight, please forgive me, but it's in my blood, is my anger is the most important thing we have is our vote, because it allows us to put people in place that can make our lives better, our schools better, set our course. And it's scary how lightly people take that responsibility, either by not voting or not knowing what and who they're voting for. So that's all my comments.
That's important. I just sent you a really good, interesting piece that I think you'll find interesting about post-World War I leading up to today in Israel. It's not that long to read.
Oh, no, anything you send me, I'll read. Let me throw one other thought out there, because you guys made me think. I had a radio show when I had my Cadillac store, and the last guest was Ralph Nader. Don't ask me how I got him. And Russell, you'd be proud of me. I kidded around with him, I joked, but he actually, and it floored me because he's a super bright guy. We're talking a guy on a different level. He said, Feldman, you're really bright. And I thought, man, I'm going to put this on my resume. He said, do you want me to tell you what's wrong with our country? Now, anybody that isn't familiar with Ralph Nader, I love a guy that makes everybody angry. Because the Republicans love what they love, the Democrats love what they love, but a guy that makes everybody insane is good to me. He came out with a book called Unsafe at Any Speed, which talked about the Chevy Corvair, and every business person wanted to have him killed. Because back then the expression was, as General Motors goes, so goes the country. They were the single biggest corporation. And then he ran against Bush and Gore, and a lot of liberals feel he siphoned off Democratic votes, and that's how Bush got in. Now all the liberals hated him. So he said, let me tell you what's wrong with our country. He said, are you a sports fan? Now, Russell, at this point, they hadn't started kneeling for the national anthem. So I was a sports fan. I'm a little bit less now, and I'm not happy about that, but hey. I said, yeah, I am. He says, can you name your infield? Well, sure. It was the Phillies. Absolutely. The Sixers. He said, most people can name their sports teams, but they don't know who their congressman is, their senator, their alderman. So they don't mind paying to see guys perform or ladies perform athletic feats, but they don't know who's setting up their schools, their laws, their taxes. So once again, you have the franchise. It's the most important thing, because we don't have to kill them or chase them out of office. We vote them out. So Jen's right. All right, I don't want to get on my soapbox.
Wait a second, you are here and not watching the Phillies play right now? When I came up, they were crushing the Braves.
Oh God, that's such a beautiful thing to hear.
Don't
And by the
jinx
way,
it, Jen, don't jinx them.
no, they'll be fine. Listen, listen, baseball, I grew up going to baseball games with my father. Anybody from Philadelphia will recognize the name. It was Connie Mack Stadium. And until I die, and if there's an afterlife, I'll have the memories of sitting in my dad with those ball games. So I love baseball, but unfortunately, like most sports, the money's too big, it gets corrupted. And you have a lot of guys that hit a long ball and they think it's a home run, so they don't run and they get thrown out at second. What a pleasure it is to watch Bryce Harper, who plays his butt off. He's Pete Rose without a gambling problem. And this Trey Turner's right behind him. They play hard, they run around. Jen, thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm in a hotel room and I've got to figure out which channel it is. Unfortunately, it was the same room that Jay Woolrich was in last week, and all I can get is porno. It's very sad. Jay, I don't know what your company's going to do here with the Bills. This is Jay's inaugural, and I'm afraid if I don't offend him thoroughly, he won't come back.
Break him in, Larry.
I'm breaking everybody.
I'm lucky I'm from Philly. I have thick skin.
Yeah. That's
Glad you showed up, Jay.
He's loving it. Listen,
Mike, I'm not sure yet.
for anybody that doesn't know, in Philadelphia, we don't break for people wearing Dallas Cowboy jerseys.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question, Jay, all kidding aside. And I'm going to take a weird curve with this because I like to get outside. I was one of those kids that always colored outside the line. Now this is not meant as a smart alecky remark. Your father-in-law, I have such an affection for your father-in-law. He is just such a relentlessly positive, good guy. He's, you know what, Wendy, he's your twin and Fred's twin. I don't know anybody that doesn't like him or respect him. And he's not the kind of guy that would ever lecture his son-in-law, but I'm sure he spreads some wisdom around.
Yes.
Let's take a positive thing. Because, it's the cart, those that forget history are doomed to repeat it. What have you taken from Tony that every once in a while, when you hit a dark turn, because we're all optimistic, but we all have our moments, we're human, that occasionally you lean on it. Like my dad always told me, everybody in the graveyard would get up and take all your problems. I thought I was bad off with no shoes till I met a man with no feet. What words of wisdom have you heard from Tony that every once in a while you lean back and say, man, that makes so much sense?
He's, Tony is somebody I respect from day one. I've known him for 27 years. Not only is my father-in-law, but he's also a life mentor. And I say that because, he's the type of person that will not only take the shirt off his back to give to you, regardless of who knows you or not, regardless of the situation or anything like that. But he's also taught me a lot about business and life together. Not just one aside or whatever. And what I mean by that is, I was in a different industry and I one time, just out of pure coincidence, happened to see one of his commission checks. And I was like, what in the world how are you making that kind of money on the first of the month? And I'm like, all right, so tell me what you're doing. So he actually sat down and taught me exactly what he did, gave me 40, 50 years of experience in a 3-hour conversation. And I took that and I said, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about. Now there's ups and downs, in sales, everyone knows that every day is not going to be a sale or the brightest day, even your month, even your year. But what he told me is to stay the course and to keep persistent and always you stay on your prospect until they buy or die. He's taught me that and I'll never forget it. And that has turned what I never used to be as persistent and as outgoing as I was until we had those kind of conversations. And over the time, it's just kind of really got into me and really instilled the confidence and the understanding of what I need to do to be successful. Everyone has a different idea of what success is and a different thing. To me, it's providing for my family and doing everything I can in a 24-hour span. So I'm the type of person that used to wake up at 8 o'clock and be done at 5 o'clock. Not anymore. Now I'm waking up at 6 o'clock and I'm done at 10 o'clock. Maybe sometimes a
That
lot.
was a sneaky way for me to dial back into why we should be optimistic. Because
Yep.
the things that are going to push us through are two things that run on parallel tracks.
Yep.
We need youth to come up that aren't out of their freaking mind. Okay. And we need sage wisdom to mix with that. Because everybody on this program that ever ignored their father and then they lost their father went, man, he's a lot smarter now than he's gone. Why the hell wasn't I listening to him while he was alive? But if we can remember what other people have gone through and what could be, listen, we're in a country that didn't have to be a country. You know, you see all these crazy movies, action movies, the Expendables. You want to read about the greatest action movie and the most unbelievable plot twist? Read about George Washington. He fought a war with no ammunition.
Yep.
There was nothing. And then in the middle of the war, they tried to impeach him. I'm not making this up. And then when he finally got the hell out of it, he was like Pacino in Godfather 3. Now we got to drag you back in because the country's falling apart. Half the people want to go back under British rule. But if we can combine the wisdom of the people that came before us and dial into that and bring up young people that care and are interested, and please, when we talk to a Kelly, when we talk to a Jen, if you guys are telling me something, let's remember what an incredible impact it can be. Russell, I'm teaching a kid today, great crew, and I do something really weird, as hard as that is to believe. All my slides are insane. I want to trigger reactions, and I have a philosophy slide. How's that for a crazy thing for a car? I showed Descartes, the father of modern dualism. I think therefore I am, and the Rodin statue, which was never called the thinker. I showed Keith Richards, the world's most famous junkie in '69, who along with Mick wrote "You Can't Always Get What You Want." I showed Dr. King, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Then I go around the room and I'm trying to get them to zero in on why they're here and what their raison d'etre is and what to do. And this kid stands up, he's 30 something. And he says, my basketball coach told me that you need to be really dedicated and just don't forget why you're here. And I asked him a question. I said, and he was so passionate about it. I said, when were you playing under him? He says, when I was 10. I said, how are you? He says, I'm 32. So 22 years later, 27 years later, in the case of Jay, look at the impact we can make on people. You know, we often forget that there, but for the grace of God, go you or I. And a kind word can mean so much. Put your arm around somebody. We don't know the states of minds people are in. And if we continue, and you guys were right, there's definitely way too much negativity out there. But if we can single-handedly each, and then it'll be a contribution, push people to be as positive and upbeat as they can, there's not a damn thing we can't turn around. That's the beauty of life. When you're gone, then it's up to you if you believe in an afterlife. But while we're alive, we can change anything, we can turn anything around, we can make anything make sense.
That's right.
Maximize every opportunity. 100%, Larry.
Every negative is an opportunity. Nature abhors a vacuum. When there's a need, you fill it, you get in there, you do it. And a lot of these things are going to focus us back on what we need to do. Because I don't know, Jen, I don't know about you. Okay, I don't know about my girl Kelly, but I've had such a culture shock since I sold my store and started a training and recruiting company. It's just insane. Jen, I'm not kidding. I'm a stalker. If you reach out to me in 3 seconds, I called you, I sent you a telegram, I told you 8 jokes. Okay. Me and Jay didn't know each other a week ago. Between us, we got 9 million texts and we're working on putting some deals together.
Mhm.
But there has to be that willingness to connect. Jen, I kindly admit to being a schizophrenic. I try to be the craziest person in every room and the smartest. Because if I'm nuts, people will connect with me. They'll buy stuff from me. They'll hire me. But if I'm not smart, they won't bring me back. Right? We all know it. The charming, funny guy, he sold me this and then he screwed up the order. You're done.
Yep.
And I'm not bragging. It's probably because I'm deranged. My wife made me start shutting off the phone at 11 o'clock because I would get calls at 4 a.m. because I'm in different time zones. I'm a musician, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, I started putting out these ads. Now I'm in over 270 dealers. And it blew my mind that people would apply for jobs, and I didn't wait a week. I waited 18 seconds. Not one of these idiots would answer. I just called you. Or they call me, and there's always a pause when I answer or my assistant answers, because they call you not expecting you to pick up the phone. This is what we are as a society. Or they call you, I swear to God, and hang up because they don't expect a human being to answer. So we need to groom people to understand AI is great, everything's great, but you got to be a human being. If we bring that human touch back to our industry, okay, because I'm a little afraid that when they start throwing the AI and layering on top of everything, it's going to get worse. I love torturing Ben Havey. I like the really smart, nerdy guys. And when I grab them alone, I said, let me ask you a question. You know everything. Yeah, I got computers in my brain. Do you like being put on hold and getting 19 prompts and then hung up on? Nobody does. So let's use the technical stuff to move us forward, but let's not lose the human touch. That's all. All right, I've talked way too much tonight.
Okay, Larry,
Go ahead, Peter.
go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, we're all in the service business, and we all need to service people. Wait a
minute, Jeff. I'm not in the service business. Okay. I tell all my dealers, you don't pay me to come, you pay me to leave. That's all. I just wanted to add that comment back in case you were in doubt.
That's a service to them with you leaving. But anyway.
Well, that wasn't nice. You don't see me picking on anybody, do you, Jeff?
So when Michael Jordan was a freshman, Dean Smith, I think, was the coach.
Dean Smith was the coach. Yep. And
Michael,
James Worthy was on that team.
Michael, if you can't pass, you can't play. And, you think about that. It's not about us. It's about the people we engage with and the people we touch. It should be.
Wait a minute, that was a rotten example because the only person that could ever hold Michael Jordan under 30 points a game was Dean Smith.
Well, let me give you the other part of the quote, which is really, he said, Michael, we're going to turn this team around 360 degrees. That was the other part of the quote, which was
there you go.
Pretty silly. But to that point, we need to help others to help ourselves. And it's simple to say.
I'm not interrupting to be rude. You just got my brain to work, and you all know that's difficult. I'm going to piggy bank on my dear friend Jeff, and he is my dear friend. Let me tell you a story that I think we need to focus on as we all move forward together. Everybody knows LeBron James, not my personal favorite guy, but okay, banned in Cleveland. The LeBron James of, gosh, what are we talking about now? 50 years ago was a guy named Bill Walton. Bill Walton was the most recruited schoolboy in the country. If he didn't get busted up, God knows what he would have done, because his passing abilities and his shooting ability, right, 21 out of 22 against Memphis State, guy, unbelievably gifted. So he gets to UCLA, and Lou Alcindor was not yet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and that was his idol. And he went to Coach Wooden and said, Coach, make me like Lou Alcindor. He's my hero. He said, no problem, Bill. Sit down. I want to show you how to pull up your socks and tighten your shoes so you don't get a blister. And Walton thought he was kidding. He said, Bill, I'm not kidding. Around here, we focus on the basics. If we can get the younger people, and it's not just the younger people, a lot of us guys our age have gotten out of the good patterns. If we can focus back on the basics, who knows what could happen? Go ahead, Jeff. It's just you maybe think of that, and Steve Carell unnerved me. Go ahead, finish.
Well, and that's exactly the point. We get bombarded every day, with politics, with interest rates, with all this negativity. Well, I'm personally a guy sort of like Jay. I'm always looking for the rose on the manure pile.
Wait a minute, hold on, Jay. Does your wife have a sister? Because it sounds like Jeff wants to get on the Tony Tolino wisdom thing.
No sister.
Let me just jump in there for 1 second there.
Do you have a sister, Peter?
Yes.
Does anybody on the damn show have a sister? I'm trying to fix people up.
I'd pay for my sister to go somewhere. Anyways, needless to say, some people know it, some people don't know it. I was in a bad car wreck when I was 16. I shouldn't be on this planet. I should be in it right now. In doing so, I had to learn how to walk, talk, and read and write and every single other thing in this world. I look at every day that I wake up as an opportunity. And this is what this call is all about. It's about opportunities. We have the greatest opportunity moving forward every single day. Our eyes face forward because we move forward. Our feet face forward because we move forward. We don't have them in the back because we don't look at the history. We look at what we can do and what we can accomplish. This business has the opportunity moving forward to be so great. We've never had the opportunity in the last that we're going to have in 5 years in the last 50. We have technology that can help us, but we have to understand one thing. We're in the hospitality business providing a commodity. We have to recognize it's about the people first. It's about the customers and our people. It's a whole envelope of dealership experience. And once we get that, we will be off to the races. So everything that's out there is just white noise. Everything.
Kelly, I would react to that. I would call the people that hijacked your car and apologize for not having a full tank of gas. Very thoughtless of you.
They only had it for 15 minutes.
That's what I call good policing. Kel, all kidding aside, I just love your attitude and energy so much. It's scary. Where do you see things going? Again, you're a lot younger than me. Your attitude is perfect. Where do you see things going? Because I got a feeling you got your wheels turning pretty good in the last couple of days. I could see it in your eyes.
Well, actually, I'm a double major and my second major was in history. So the cyclical nature of the world in general, and the fact that so many people don't learn from the past mistakes means that it's always coming back around. Short comment to your comment about George Washington. The part of Hamilton where they say goodbye, tear up every time, because that was what made American democracy happen, is him stepping down. Anyway, so I see moving forward, I see the dealers that are moving towards this modern, people first, customer centric way of doing business are going to be the ones to succeed.
Right.
I think the grind out bottom dollar, I just got a five pounder on the front and a 10 pounder on the back. The people that talk about it like that are going to have problems staying in the business long term. We know what the publicly held companies are making, and that's nothing to laugh about. But I think that the people who are on the fringes are going to have to decide, are they going to sell out, or are they going to try to find a niche and develop their voice? As much as the younger generations are trying to find their own voice with what they're portraying on social media, I feel like a lot of dealers could take note from that and start to develop their own voice for who their dealership wants to be and how they can do that in a holistic manner.
It's about, you're 100% right. It's about long-term thinking. I've sold a lot of cars. I have never put anybody in an 84 or 96-month finance. I used to fight every time with my finance managers before I owned the place. When I was a salesman, I never let them do a $100 deductible. Man, we'll make more money. I don't want to make more money. I want to make more money down the road, that when the guy comes in, instead of owing 100, he owes 0. If we start thinking about what's going to happen down the road, the next deal, the deal after that deal, we're good. Keep in mind, a lot of dealers are short-sighted. Russell and I have seen a million times where they've said, man, this guy, we paid this guy 180,000. Let's find somebody who could do it for 130, not realizing it wasn't a salary, it was what he generated. So we're probably going to need to reshuffle a lot of decks in terms of how we look at how everything affects everything else. Because we're all aware of the unintended consequences that come when you look at things wrong.
Larry, that's a great point. And I think when you say what's coming next, a lot of dealers that are doing this customer centric.
Hey, wait, Kelly, the audio faded out. Could you say that part about Larry? That was a great point again.
Larry, that was a great point. Do you need to record that? Do you need to double record it? Get your
Russell,
phone out?
I'm telling you.
It's already being recorded. He's gonna play it back over and over and over
She,
again.
she is one smart lady. I haven't had my wife say that, and I've been married 30 years. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So
It's Jay.
the
I've never
dealers
been
that
this
are doing
mischievous. It's all
the
Jason.
right things and growing in a modern and intelligent marketing type of way, they have a really big opportunity right ahead of them. So all of these customers that paid 10 grand over sticker or more, they're not going to be able to go back to those dealerships and get out of that car in any way, shape, or form. They're going to be really angry when they get their trade-in values, and that dealer is automatically off the list because they broke trust. So dealers are going to need to start now and building that community relationship to be the person to step into that breach and say, we know last time didn't go well somewhere else, we're different. But they can't say it, they need their customers to say it for them.
Hey, I just thought of one negative point. Can anybody understand how this lady is unemployed and every dealership has about 9 morons working for him? Something severely wrong with that picture.
I
Kelly,
know,
we're-
I know.
What is it?
She's interviewing them. She's gonna choose them. She's not gonna let them choose her.
I love it.
And
Is
I
this
have
kinda
really
like-
high morals.
Wendy,
I
is that
walked
kind of
away
like when you
from-
were dating Fred? You were interviewing him instead of the other way around. I'm
I don't know. Once I saw those blue eyes, I was done for.
You were
I'm
hooked.
telling you, it's Amber Heard and Johnny Depp without all the court stuff. It's just passion springs eternal.
Well, I was going to say, I actually turned down a job because the money wasn't there enough for me to take the job. And I have too high of a standard for myself to take a job from someone else when I know that that company is going to spend money and time in developing me and training me. If I know that I'm constantly looking for that next job because it's not going to pay my bills. So I've actually walked away from a handful of positions with some really great companies just because it wouldn't be right for me to do that to them. And
So
it wouldn't be
let me,
right
wait a
for
minute, let
to
me
do
get
that to
this
someone
right.
else.
You're incredibly bright, okay? And you have integrity. No wonder you're not getting a job in the car industry. It makes complete sense now. Try
Well,
being a little dumber and a little creepier. Maybe we can get you a GSM position. Come on, Russell.
And I
let's
went
work
from
together.
marketing to finance and I still have that.
You're going to be, you had to hear her on Clubhouse. I only tuned in for 10 minutes because I was getting ready for my class, but everybody on the program fell in love with her. She's just really smart. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Henry Ford. Wasn't he also the guy that was anti-Semitic and said they can have any color they want as long as it's black? I'm just checking. You got to
But
keep an eye on
he
Jeff Scherer at all times.
But Larry, he was also the guy that invented the replacement part that allowed the assembly line to take fat.
He's also the guy, now I'm not kidding, and I said this on the last show, forgive me for repeating myself. He's the guy that raised salaries, and every other business guy said, how dare you? And he said, hey, I want them to be able to afford the product that they're building. So for being a little anti-Semitic and a little stubborn with some things, he set so many things in motion in business in terms of how we build things and how we integrate and take care of people. Who haven't we heard from recently? Hey, Jen, you've been a little silent. Are you still with us?
I'm here.
There you go. Well, say something. The last point was so salient, you got a whole different conversation started. Hurry up before Jeff Scherer texts something again.
Well, I hope everybody has a lovely evening and wake up positive tomorrow morning.
Great. One thing I wanted to say, when we're talking about dealers and everything else and opportunities, and I put out a poll saying I'm going to give a dealer $10,000 to put into vendors. What is most important to them? Employee engagement, return on investment, structural visibility, or customer experience. At $10,000, they all chose return on investment.
Well, that shows you how dumb they can be, because if you take care of your
No.
customers, you get the best return on your investment.
So Peter, you needed to join our call today at 11, next Wednesday at
Yeah.
11 a.m. Eastern. Today was a hot call. We were talking a lot about the human dynamic and human integration as we all work together to implement a product, and the expectations between vendors and dealers. And actually, I just wrote an article about it, wrote another one that's going to get published next week. I'm passionate about that and turning vendors into partners.
Jen,
Can I-
please make sure you send me all your stuff. I'm not going to be a digital dealer next week. I'm in Florida working with the Ghetto Group, but the stuff I've read yours, I love. Please, anybody that's got anything interesting, please send it, because man, I just want to get better and smarter, and let everybody else bang their heads on the wall. Let us continue to move forward and
Absolutely.
You know,
push every
it-
standard.
Echo what Peter just said. I saw a video on social media recently that asked the question, if you could get $1 million or get a penny a day for 30 days that doubled every day, what would you take?
Well, it's a default question. Most people would really say, but they know there's a trick to it. It's actually 31 days, and it's $10,737,000 compounded.
it.
It's phenomenal. I mean, but the magic is not at 30, Jeff, it's 31. It's only 5 million on 30.
But point being, if you asked a GM of the dealer that,
Oh, yeah.
Peter said, well, I'll take the million. What are you talking about? Right? And it's
Yeah.
just the short-term view, because I'm just looking at month to month, man.
Boom.
Exactly. It's like I put out a question about mystery shopping and how dealers abhor mystery shopping. They don't want it to be done. Yet it's the greatest opportunity for them to understand how to be better. It's not about pointing out the faults. It's about how to be better.
By the way,
Wendy,
if
I think
anybody,
Wendy wants to say something about that. Wendy.
I just want to make a really quick point that those of us who are OGs in the room that have been here around for decades, they're the same problems. They're just now coming to the light because more people are listening.
Yep.
But we've been preaching the same thing for years and they're not listening. So we
Hey,
just
Wen,
need
Wen, it's
conversations going on.
it's going to be the Comedy Channel tomorrow. What I do when I do my 2-day training is I beat them up. I teach them to listen. I love to ask them. You guys all know, what do you say to the guy that says, I have 10 minutes, I got to go watch my son play ball? The answer is, what does your son play? What does your daughter play? So I sent them out after the class. I got most of the feel for what they're trying to do, to say they're looking for a car for their sister that just had a baby. If it was me or Russell or Peter, it'd be our daughter that just had a baby, which makes us grandpa. I don't care if I'm in Canada, California, Philadelphia, the Midwest. You would not believe the dopes we have in our industry. It's all, you love to be playing poker with these guys. Their faces drop immediately. Why isn't she here? Well, she did just have a baby. Okay. Tell her to come, tell her to go on the internet. So Wendy's right. It's the same thing.
It is.
The people that want to be forward thinking, the people that get up every morning and they're excited to go to work, are going to move forward. And we'll probably be talking about the same thing in a slightly different, version 10 years from now and 20 years from now. It's not going to change, but it just leaves room, Wendy, for positive, upbeat people. Because if you're the
Absolutely.
positive person, negative room, you're going to rock. Hey guys, we're a little bit over our time, but what a fabulous panel. What a great bunch of people. Does anybody have any final comments? Would anybody like to pick on my friend Jay before he gets off? Because I'm not sure I inflicted enough damage. And I certainly want to encourage him to come back.
I'll say something, and Jay, I'm sorry in advance. But my father, before he passed, God rest his soul, he used to say to me, you can be as successful as you ever wanted to be in this one life of yours, but you can't do it alone.
That's right. Amen, brother.
That's it. I'm dropping my mic.
Boom.
Okay, that was a good mic drop. Send me your address again. And
I'll
Kelly,
do so, sir.
Kelly, I wrote this really crazy cool book called Inner Moron Demons, How to Avoid Them and Live Your Best Life. If you'd be kind enough to send me your address, you would love it. It's got so much history in it that you'll understand and like in my own twisted fashion. Does anybody else have any thoughts?
History.
What's that?
I said I love history, and I absolutely cannot wait to see whoever it is that is going over to Vegas next week.
I'm there. So I want, one thing I want to say, and then I gotta bounce that, peace and blessings, and I love you guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday, okay?
Okay, everybody stay positive. We're gonna try to have even more fun next week. Jay, I put in the column below the suicide prevention hotline in case I was too rough on you. And can't thank you all enough. Let's just keep rolling, keep having fun, and I'll talk to you all very soon. And everybody stay healthy, and thank you so much.
Peace out. Bye.
Excellent call, guys.
Ciao for now.